Good morning, students. Say your prayer. Thank you. நான் ஒரு நல்லாசிரியர். நான் உங்களுக்கு தாயாகவும் தந்தையாகவும் இருந்து முறையாக அன்போடு கல்வியை போதிப்பேன். நான் ஒரு நல்லாசிரியர். நான் உங்களுக்கு தாயாகவும் தந்தையாகவும் இருந்து முறையாக அன்போடு கல்வியை போதிப்பேன். நான் ஒரு நல்லாசிரியர். நான் உங்களுக்கு தாயாகவும் தந்தையாகவும் இருந்து முறையாக அன்போடு கல்வியை போதிப்பேன். Okay, students, take your social science book and come to page number 88. Yeah, so 7th lesson in history. So state and society in medieval India. So from the Cholas to the Mughals. So in our previous classes, that is in 6th unit and 5th unit, we have discussed about the Middle Ages in Europe and Asia. So in 5th lesson, we discussed about Greece and Rome and the rise of Christianity. In 6th lesson, we discussed about the state, the empires in China and Japan, and also the rise of Islam. So how Islam emerged as an important religion in West Asia. Then later we discussed about the Crusades, so the war between Christians and Muslims in order to control the city of Jerusalem. So we have discussed these things in our previous class. Okay, but in this lesson, so state and society in medieval India. So what happened in India during Middle Ages? So what is the Middle Age in world history? So the period between the fall of the Roman Empire, the end of the Roman Empire, to the Ottoman Turks, so captured Constantinople now. So till that period. So that is from 470 AD to 1453 AD is called as medieval period in world history. Then what is the medieval period in Indian history? You will learn this also. Then apart from that, so the important dynasties that ruled India in the Middle Ages. So the important dynasties that ruled India in the Middle Ages. So the major dynasty was the Chola. So in South India, so it was Chola. In North India, so at the end of the medieval period, it was the Mughals. So starting from the Cholas and up to the Mughals, so the important dynasties, so which ruled India. So you will learn from this lesson. And also the society. So the political structure. Apart from the political structure, you will learn about the society in medieval India. Okay, so the state and the society in medieval India from the Cholas to the Mughals. Learning objectives. So what are you going to learn from this lesson? First, to acquire knowledge of successive dynasties and the resultant political outcomes from the time of the Cholas to the Mughals. So successive dynasties. So what are the dynasties? So succeed one after another. And because of that, what was the political result? What were the political changes that took place? From the times of the Cholas to the Mughals. Then influence of Islam and Islamic State on the socio-cultural life of the people. So influence of Islam. So in the medieval ages only, so Islam came to India as a religion. So Islam. So how it came means as conquest only. So the Muslim rulers so conquered our country and established their rule along with the religion. So the influence of Islam and Islamic State on the socio-cultural life of the people. Then institutional and administrative changes during Chola, Pandya and Vijayanagar period in the south. So institutional and administrative changes, so which took place during the period of Chola, then Pandya, then Vijayanagar. So if you take Islam, so its effect mostly seen in North India only, because they didn't give much importance to South India. So only few Islam rulers invaded South India. So but most of them, so they had concentrated in the North Indian region itself. So because they didn't think to cross the regions, Narmada River region and also the dense forest in order to reach South India. So mostly, so they had their effect. So the Islam religion had its effect only in North India. So it had a very simple, very low effect in South India. So the institutional and administrative changes during Chola, Pandya and Vijayanagara period in the south. Then development of literature, art and architecture. Then transformation of agriculture and manufacturing sector. So transformation. So changes in agriculture and manufacturing sector. Then progress in maritime trade, commerce, then urbanization. So progress in, so development in maritime. So maritime means related with the sea. Yeah, so development in sea trade, then commerce, then urbanization. Yeah, so now more cities begin to emerge. Yeah, so now new cities begin to emerge in large number. Okay, so learning objectives. What are you going to learn from this lesson? To acquire knowledge of successive dynasties and the resultant political outcome from the time of the Cholas to the Mughals. Yeah. Then influence of Islam and Islamic State on the socio-cultural life of the people. The third one, institutional and administrative changes during the Chola, then Pandya and Vijayanagar period in the south. Then development of literature, art and architecture. Then transformation in agriculture and manufacturing sector. Then progress in maritime trade, commerce and urbanization. So introduction. So what is the medieval period in India? So in world history, it was from 470 AD to 1453 AD. Yeah. In Indian history, the medieval period from the 7th century AD till the beginning of the Mughal rule in the 16th century. Yeah. So in India, so the medieval period was between 7th century AD to the beginning of the Mughal rule in the year in the 16th century. Yeah. So the Mughal era, that is from 16th to 18th century, is referred to as the early modern period. So the Mughal era, so from the 16th century to 18th century, is referred to as the early modern period. Yeah. So the medieval period from the 7th century till the beginning of Mughal rule in 16th century. Yeah. So from 7th century to beginning of the 16th century, it is called as the medieval period in Indian history. Yeah. Then, so the Mughal dynasty, so the Mughal period, so it begins on 1526. That is in the beginning of 16th century. Then, from 16th century to 18th century is referred to as the early modern period. Yeah. Then after that, so from 19th century to present day is called as modern century. Yeah. So after the arrival of Europeans, yeah, so when the Europeans came to India, so they came to India in the 16th century itself. Yeah. But so they established their political power in India. So from 18th century onwards. Yeah. So that is called as modern period. Yeah. So the political scenario in all parts of India underwent momentous definitive changes which transformed the social and economic fabric and development of the country. So the political scenario in all parts of India underwent momentous. So momentous means it's a very important and a definitive changes which transformed the social and economic fabric. So fabric, basic structure of a society, an organization, etc., that enables it to function successfully. Yeah, so basic structure of a society. Yeah, so the political scenario in all parts of India underwent very important, definitive changes which transformed the social and economic structure and development of the country. Yeah, so the medieval period of India is between 7th century to 16th century. Okay, so the beginning of 16th Mughal rule. Yeah, so in the 16th century. So that is called as medieval period. So the major political changes. So what are the important political changes that took place in India so during the medieval ages? Yeah. First, in south, so the expansion of the Chola Empire from the time of Rajaraja I. Yeah, so who was Rajaraja I? Yeah, the famous Chola king. So who constructed the Pragdishwarar temple, so Tanjai big temple. Yeah. So during this period, so the Chola Empire began to expand. Yeah. So the expansion of the Chola Empire from the time of Rajaraja I, which eclipsed the. So eclipse means a loss of importance, power, etc. Because something or somebody has become more important, powerful, etc. Yeah. So because of the rise of Rajaraja I, so because of the rise of Chola Empire under Rajaraja I, so Pandyan and Pallava kingdom, yeah, so lost their importance. Yeah. So the Chola Empire extended north till Odisha. Yeah, so the expansion of the Chola Empire from the time of Rajaraja I, which eclipsed the Pandyan and Pallava kingdoms. So because of the rise of Chola Empire under Rajaraja I, the Pandya and Pallava kingdoms lost their importance. Yeah, so the Chola Empire extended up to north, so till Odisha. Yeah. Then in North India, so from the 12th century, the beginning of the several centuries of Muslim rule in India. Okay, so from the 12th century, the beginning of several centuries of Muslim rule in Delhi, that is in the capital of India. Yeah, so from the 12th century, that is, when was Muslim rule established in India? Yeah, can you remember that Battle of Terrain? Yeah, so which happened in the year 1191 and 1192. Yeah, so in the second Battle of Terrain, so Prithviraj Chauhan, so the ruler of North India, was defeated by the Muslim king Muhammad Ghori. Yes, after that only, so the Muslim rule established in India. So the Delhi Sultanate established in India. So that is in the 12th century, at the end of 12th century. Yeah. So from that period onwards, so from 12th century onwards, so Muslim so began to rule India. With Delhi as their capital. Yeah. So till 18th century. Yeah. So till 18th century. So nearly for many centuries, nearly for 5 to 6 centuries, they have ruled North India. Yeah. So from the 12th century, the beginning of several centuries of Muslim rule in Delhi, extending throughout North India and the spread of Islam to different parts of the country. Yeah. So because of their rule, so the Islam religion, yeah, so it spread throughout the North India. So from the 12th century, the beginning of the several centuries for Muslim rule in India, extending throughout North, and the spread of Islam to different parts of the country. Then by the end of the 13th century, the eclipse of the great empire of the Cholas. So the eclipse means a loss of importance. So by the end of the 13th century, so the great empires of Chola so lost its importance, and the consequent rise of many religious kingdoms in South India. So because of the decline of the great empire of Cholas, which result in the formation of many religious kingdoms in South India. So Chola, so they held the power so nearly for more than 200 years. But by the end of 13th century, so there was a decline in the great empire of the Cholas. So it resulted in the rise of many religious kingdoms in South India. So this ultimately culminated in the rise of Vijayanagara Empire, which exercised authority overall of South India and came to be considered as the bastion of religious rule in South India. So by the end of 13th century, the eclipse. So eclipse means so loss of importance of the great empire of the Cholas and the consequent rise. So consequent means so happening as a result of something. So because of the fall of so Chola dynasty, so there was a rise of many religious kingdom in South India. So this ultimately culminated. So ultimately culminated means so to end with a result. So the rise of many religious kingdom in India, South India, was come to end. So the rise of many religious kingdom in South India came to an end with the rise of Vijayanagara Empire. So the Vijayanagara Empire exercised its power, so had its power overall of South India, and it is considered as the bastion. So bastion means a group of people or a system that products a way of life or a belief when it seems that it may disappear. So with the Vijayanagara Empire, so it came to protect the rule of the Hindus. So the Vijayanagara Empire, why it was started? Can you remember that? So the Tughlaq dynasty. So the Islam's rule under the Tughlaq dynasty had their power in South India also. So in order to stop their influence, so the two persons, so Harihara and Bukka, who were working under Tughlaq, so they declared their independence and established the kingdom. So in order to protect their religion, so they established the kingdom. So that is called as Vijayanagara kingdom. So that's why it is considered as the bastion of religious rule in South. So bastion means a group of people or a system that protects a way of life or a belief when it seems that it may disappear. So people in South India thought that their religion may get disappeared. So because of the Islam. So the Vijayanagara Empire was started. So Vijayanagara Empire exercised its authority overall of South India. Then the consolidation of Muslim rule under the Mughals in the north. The consolidation means so making more strong. So making it more strong. So the consolidation of Muslim rule under the Mughals in the north, beginning in 1526 AD with the defeat of Ibrahim Lodi by Babur. So in 1526 AD, so the battle which was called as the first battle of Panipat, so it took place between Ibrahim Lodi and Babur. So Babur, so he only established Mughal dynasty in India after defeating Ibrahim Lodi. At its height, the Mughal empire stretched from Kabul to Gujarat and to Bengal and from Kashmir to South India. Yes, at its height, the Mughal empire stretched from Kabul in Afghanistan to Bengal in India and from Kashmir to South India. Then finally, the coming of the Europeans, beginning with the Portuguese, who arrived on the west coast of India in 1498 AD. So the Europeans, so they began to come to India. So from 1498 onwards. Yeah. So the first Europeans who came to India was the Portuguese. Yeah. So following Portuguese, so other Europeans also came to India. Yeah. So they came to India on the west coast of India in 1498 AD. Okay. So these are the political changes. So that was seen in medieval India. So first the expansion of Chola Empire, so which led to the decline of Pandya and Pallava kingdoms. Then from 12th century onwards, so the beginning of the rule of Muslims in Delhi, so which extended throughout North India, and also the spread of Islam to different parts of the country. Then, so by the end of 13th century, so the Chola dynasty began to decline, so that many religious kingdoms arise in South India. Yeah. So which result, which was an end. Yeah. So these many religious kingdoms came to an end with the rise of Vijayanagara Empire. So the Vijayanagara Empire successed authority overall of South India, and it was considered as the bastion of religious in South India. So by the end of 13th century, so the Chola Empire declined, and it resulted in the rise of many religious kingdoms in South India. So this came to an end. So these religious kingdoms came to an end with the rise of Vijayanagara Empire. So Vijayanagara Empire is considered the bastion of religious rule in South India. Then, so the consolidation of Muslim rule under the Mughals in the north in the year 1526, after Babur defeating Ibrahim Lodi. Then the coming of the Europeans, so beginning with the Portuguese, who arrived on the west coast in 1498. So now the political changes. So from 1000 to 1700 AD. So North India, advent of Islam. So advent means so coming. So Muslim rule was established in Delhi at the end of the 12th century by Muhammad Ghori. So Muslim rule was established in Delhi at the end of the 12th century by Muhammad Ghori. So Arab Muslim merchants had been trading in port of the west coast, especially Kerala, as early as the 9th century. So before the establishment of Muslim rule in Delhi, so the Arab merchants, so the Arab Muslim merchants, so they have trade contact with the South India. So that is especially in the ports of the west coast. So similarly, Muslim invaders from West Asia had set up Sultanate in Gujarat and Sindh since 8th century. So the Muslim invaders from West Asia had set up their kingdom in Gujarat and also in Sindh, so since 8th century itself. So in the year 712 AD, Muhammad Qasim, so he invaded Sindh and captured it. But in Delhi, so the first Muslim rule in Delhi was established in 12th century only. So but before that time itself, many Arab invaders, so many Muslim invaders, they tried to set up their power in India. So in Gujarat and Sindh, they had their sultanate. So they had their authority since 8th century itself. But the effect of Muslim rule was felt during the reign of Alauddin Khilji. So the impact of Muslim rule was felt only during the reign of Alauddin Khilji, who sent military campaigns to the south. So even though the Muslim rule was established in 12th century by Muhammad of Ghori, so the impact of Muslim rule was felt during the reign of Alauddin Khilji. So he sent his military campaigns to the south. So the primary objective was to plunder the wealth rather than to expand his territory. So the aim of so the objective of Alauddin Khilji's military campaign was just to plunder the wealth. So apart from expanding his territory, so he didn't give his importance to expand the territory, but he wanted to plunder the wealth. So Devagiri was captured by Alauddin. So Devagiri was captured by Alauddin Khilji. So it was renamed as Dawlatabad. It was the second stronghold of his growing kingdom. So Devagiri, which was near Aurangabad, was captured by Alauddin Khilji. It was renamed as Dawlatabad, and it was the second stronghold of his growing kingdom. Alauddin Khilji's slave and commander Malik Kafur was sent on military expedition further south in the first decade of the 1300 AD. So Alauddin Khilji's slave and commander, so Malik Kafur, so he was sent on military expedition further south in the first decade of the 1300 AD. Okay. The Tughlaq kings, so who came after Alauddin, also sent their armies to the south. So following Alauddin Khilji, so the Tughlaq dynasty kings, so they also sent their armies to the south. As a result, the generally more isolated southern part of the country came into the orbit of the rulers of the north. So because of the invasion of the Khilji rulers, Salahuddin Khilji and Tughlaq dynasty rulers, so the more isolated southern part of the country came into the orbit of the rulers of the north. So governors were appointed in various provinces in the Deccan region, and sultanate was even established in Madurai. So the south part of the country so came under the control of the north rulers. So the governors were appointed in various provinces in the Deccan region, and sultanate was established in Madurai, that is in Tamil Nadu. During the reign of Muhammad bin Tughlaq, there was a revolt in Dawlatabad. So during the reign of Muhammad bin Tughlaq, so one of the famous king belongs to Tughlaq dynasty. So there was a revolt in Dawlatabad. So Alauddin Bahman Shah so set up the Bahmani Sultanate in 1347 AD with his capital in Bidar. So Alauddin Bahman Shah set up the Bahmani Sultanate, so set up the Bahmani kingdom in 1347 AD with his capital as Bidar. The Bahmani kingdom survived for nearly a century and a half, so nearly for 150 years. So because of the able administration of Muhammad Gawan, a great statesman and a loyal minister. So there was a revolt which took place in Dawlatabad in the year 1347 AD. So because of the revolt, Alauddin Bahman Shah so set up his Bahmani Sultanate with Bidar as its capital. So the Bahmani kingdom so survived nearly for 150 years, a century and a half years. So because of the able administration of Muhammad Gawan, a great statesman and a loyal minister. After his death, many viceroys declared their independence, and by the end of 15th century, 5 sultanates came up in the Deccan. So after the death of Muhammad Gawan, many viceroys so declared their independence, and by the end of 15th century, 5 sultanates came up in the Deccan region. So that is Bijapur, Golconda, Ahmednagar, Berar and Bidar. Bijapur and Golconda were the largest of the sultanate, and the region entered a phase of considerable economic growth and expansion of trade. Among the 5 sultanates in the Deccan region, Bijapur and Golconda emerged as the important kingdom, so with considerable economic growth and expansion of trade. So the Deccan sultanates were conquered by Aurangzeb in the 1660s AD, and the entire region as far as south, that is till Madras, so it became the part of the Mughal Empire. So these 5 sultanates, so these sultanate kingdom were defeated by Aurangzeb, and they came under Mughal Empire. So Mughal Empire during Aurangzeb period extended up to south. So even it crossed Madras. Okay, so during the reign of Muhammad bin Tughlaq, there was a revolt in Dawlatabad. Alauddin Bahman Shah set up the Bahmani Sultanate in 1347 AD with his capital in Bidar. The Bahmani kingdom survived for nearly a century and a half, so because of the able administration of Muhammad Gawan. After his death, so many viceroys declared their independence, and because of this, by the end of 15th century, 5 sultanates came up in the Deccan region. So Bijapur, Golconda, Ahmednagar, Berar and Bidar. So the Deccan sultanates were conquered by Aurangzeb in the 1660s AD. So and the entire region became a part of the Mughal Empire. So in North India, so the Muslim rule established in Delhi by Muhammad Ghori. Then the impact of Muslim rule was felt during the reign of Alauddin Khilji. So he sent military campaigns to south. Then the Tughlaq dynasty, so they also sent their military campaign to South India. But during the period of Muhammad bin Tughlaq, so there was a revolt in Dawlatabad. So Alauddin Bahman Shah formed the Bahmani Sultanate, formed the Bahmani kingdom in South India, in the Deccan region in 1347 AD. So, but later, so the Bahmani kingdom split into 5 kingdoms, and these 5 kingdoms later came under the control of Mughal Empire during the reign of Aurangzeb. So this only we have seen. So in the advent of Muslims in North India. Then what happened in South India? So the Chola Empire in the south. So the territorial expansion of the Chola Empire began under Rajaraja I. So the territorial expansion of the Chola Empire began under Rajaraja I. So the Pallava kingdom had already been added to the Chola kingdom. So the Pallava kingdom had already added to the Chola kingdom. So before Rajaraja I itself, the Pallava kingdom came under the Chola kingdom. So the Pandya kingdom remained independent, but they were under the Cholas. So Pandya kingdom remained independent, but they were weak when compared to Cholas. So the empire expanded further under Rajendra I. So the Chola Empire expanded further under Rajendra I. So Rajendra I, so he was son of Rajaraja I. So during the period of Rajaraja Chola itself, so Pallava kingdom and Pandya kingdom, so they came under Chola dynasty. So Chola kingdom. So the empire was further expanded by Rajendra I, who had successfully taken his armies to the northeast. So Rajendra I taken the Chola armies, extended his empire up to the Chola, so up to the northeast of river Ganges. He also sent naval expedition against the Sailendra kingdom of Srivijaya, that is in Indonesia, Kadaram and Ceylon. So that's why he earned the title the Chola who had conquered the Ganga and Kadaram. So that is Gangayum Kadaramum Konda Cholan. Ceylon, that is Sri Lanka, remained as a province of the Chola Empire for a few decades. So the empire was further consolidated through marriage with the eastern Chalukyas under Rajendra's grandson Kulotunga I and extended up to the border of Odisha. So during the period of Rajaraja I itself, Pallava kingdom and a Pandya kingdom came under the Cholas. So this empire was further expanded by Rajendra I. So he has taken his armies up to North India, so up to river Ganges. Then he sent the naval expedition against the Sailendra kingdom of Srivijaya in Indonesia and Ceylon. And Kadaram and Ceylon. So that's why he earned the name Kadaramum, Gangayum Kadaramum Konda Cholan. Ceylon, so Sri Lanka. So you know the Sri Lanka country, so which is located to the south of India. So Ceylon remained as a part of Chola Empire for few decades. So for few decades. So the empire was further consolidated through marriage with the eastern Chalukyas under Rajendra's grandson Kulotunga I. And it extended up to the border of Odisha. So the maritime trade with Southeast Asia and China expanded greatly during the Chola period. So the maritime trade with Southeast Asia and China expanded greatly during the Chola period. The continued interaction with the Tamil merchants resulted in the spread of influence of Indian culture and art into Southeast Asia, as seen in the magnificent temples of Angkor Wat in Cambodia. So because of the Chola expansion in Southeast Asia, so we know Rajendra I sent naval expeditions against the kingdoms in Indonesia and Kadaram. So because of this naval expedition, so there was a maritime trade contact with Southeast Asia and also with China. So the continued interaction with the Tamil merchants resulted in the spread of influence. So because of this, so there was a spread of Indian culture and art to Southeast Asia, so which we have seen in magnificent temples of Angkor Wat in Cambodia. So Vijayanagar and South India after the Cholas. So the Chola Empire began to decline after the middle of the 13th century. So the Chola Empire began to decline after the middle of 13th century. The last known Chola Emperor was Rajendra III. So the last known Chola Emperor was Rajendra III. So the empire died out in 1279 AD. So the empire died out in 1279 AD. So several powers came after this in this region. So several power centers came after this in the region. So further to the south, the Pandya kings again sought to regain the glory they had lost under the Cholas. So further to the south, the Pandya kings, so they want to regain. So they want to regain their glory which they had lost under the Cholas. So many brilliant Pandya kings like Jadavarman Sundarabandyan ruled at the end of 13th century. Further to the north was the Hoysala kingdom with its capital at Belur and later Halebeedu. So this kingdom extended through much of the present day state of Karnataka. So the Chola Empire began to decline after the middle of 13th century. So the last known Chola emperor was Rajendra III. So the empire died out in the year 1279 AD. So after that, so several power centers came up in this region. So came up in South India. So in Tamil Nadu, so the Pandya kings again sought to regain the glory they had lost under the Cholas. So further to the south, that is in Tamil Nadu. So the Pandya kings, so they want to regain their past glory, so which they had lost under the Cholas. So many brilliant Pandya kings like Jadavarman Sundara Pandyan ruled at the end of 13th century. Then above that, that is in the Deccan region. So that is to the north, the Hoysala kingdom with its capital at Belur and later Halabedu was established. So this Hoysala kingdom extended through much of the present day state of Karnataka. The Kagadiyas ruled from Warangal, that is Telangana, while Yadavas ruled in Devagiri until Devagiri fell to Alauddin Khalji's forces at the end of 13th century. So the Kagadiyas ruled from Warangal, that is the Telangana region, while the Yadavas ruled in Devagiri. So the Yadavas in Devagiri was finally defeated by Alauddin Khalji at the end of 13th century. So after that only, Devagiri was renamed as Daulatabad. So these states did not exist in peaceful cooperation and the region was beset by many internal wars and conflicts. So these states, that is Hoysalas, Kagadiyas and Yadavas, so they were not with peaceful cooperation. So they were often involved in internal wars and conflicts. So then the establishment of the Vijayanagar kingdom. So the establishment of the kingdom of Vijayanagar was the most important development in the history of South India in the medieval period. So in the beginning of the medieval period, the Chola Empire, so they had its influence in South India. But after the fall of the Chola dynasty, so there was several powers. So there were several power centers that came up in this region. So they were quarrel with each other. So the Hoysalas, the Pandyas, then Kagadiyas, okay, so then Yadavas. So they ruled in the medieval period. So after the decline of Chola Empire, so they ruled the Deccan region and South India. So Alauddin Khilji's forces defeated Yadavas and established their role in Devagiri. But during the period of Tughlaq dynasty, Vijayanagar Empire was established. So the establishment of the kingdom of Vijayanagar was the most important development in the history of South India. So the kingdom was established by two brothers, so Harihara and Bukka. So the kingdom, so the Vijayanagar kingdom was established by Harihara and Bukka. So they were the first rulers of the Sangama dynasty. So actually Vijayanagar Empire was ruled by four dynasties. So Sangama, Saluva, Tuluva, then Arvidu. So Harihara and Bukka belongs to Sangama dynasty. So they founded a new capital city on the southern banks of river Tungabhadra, which they named as Vijayanagara. So they founded a new capital city on the southern banks of river Tungabhadra, which they named as Vijayanagara. So Vijayanagara means so city of victory. So Nagara, so city. So Vijaya, victory. So city of victory. So Harihara was crowned in 1336 AD. So that means so Vijayanagara Empire was established in the year 1336 AD. Then Bahmani kingdom, 1347 AD. So the Sangama dynasty ruled Vijayanagar for nearly 1.5 centuries. So the Sangama dynasty ruled Vijayanagara for 1.5 centuries. That is for 150 years. So the Sangama dynasty was followed by Saluva dynasty, which was in power only for a brief period. So the Sangama dynasty was followed by the Saluva dynasty, which was in power only for a brief period. So the Tuluva dynasty then succeeded as rulers. So Saluva dynasty, so which ruled for a short period only. But it was followed by Tuluva dynasty, and Tuluva dynasty had many important rulers. So the most important and greatest ruler of Vijayanagar, so Krishnadevaraya, belonged to Tuluva dynasty. So the Tuluva dynasty then succeeded the Saluva dynasty. So Krishnadevaraya, the greatest ruler of Vijayanagara, belonged to this family, that is belonged to Tuluva dynasty. So as the empire expanded, as the Vijayanagara Empire expanded, the kingdoms to the south, such as the Hoysalas and the Tamil region, were assimilated to the Vijayanagar. So as the empire expanded, the kingdoms to the south, that is Hoysalas and the Tamil region, so were came under Vijayanagar. Yeah. The rulers of Vijayanagar were almost continuously at war with the Bahmani Sultanate as well as with the religious based kingdoms of Kondavidu and Odisha. Yeah, so the rulers of Vijayanagar, they were almost continuously at war with the Bahmani Sultanate and also with the religious based kingdoms of Kondavidu and Odisha. Yeah. Finally, the combined forces of the five Deccani Sultanate defeated Vijayanagar in 1565 AD at the Battle of Talikota. Yeah, so finally, the combined forces of the five Deccan Sultanate, so they defeated Vijayanagar Empire. So they defeated Vijayanagar Empire in the Battle of Talikota in 1565 AD. Yeah. The Vijayanagar emperors then shifted their capital further south to Benukonda and eventually to Chandragiri near Tirupati. Yeah. So after the defeat at the Battle of Talikota, the Vijayanagar emperors, yeah, so they shifted their capital to the south of Penukonda. So that is near Tirupati. Yeah, so the empire, so, or what remained of it, finally withered away in the middle of the 17th century. So the Vijayanagar empire, so finally withered away. So finally removed away from the scene in the middle of the 17th century. So the Vijayanagar empire was established by Harihara and Bukka in 1336 AD, came to an end with their decline, with their defeat in the Battle of Talikota in 1565 AD. Then the Mughals, 1526 to 707 AD. So already in North India, the Islam rule was established by Muhammad of Ghori in 12th century, at the end of 12th century. Yeah. Then later Alauddin Khilji and Tughlaq rulers, so the Tughlaq dynasty rulers, so invaded South India. Yeah. Then we discussed the Chola empire in the south. So by the beginning of 12th century, so the Cholas, so they established their rule in South India strongly. Yeah. Then after their decline, so many independent kingdoms arose in South India. Yeah. But this event was put to an end by the rise of Vijayanagar kingdom in South India. Yeah. And also apart from that, so the Bahmani kingdom also existed in the Deccan region. Okay, wow. Then the Mughals, so the Mughal empire was founded by Babur in 1526 AD after he defeated Ibrahim Lodi at Panipat. So Mughal empire was established by Babur in 1526 AD after he defeated Ibrahim Lodi at the Battle of Panipat. So the first Battle of Panipat. Yeah. The first 6 Mughal emperors are referred to as the Great Mughals. So the first 6 Mughals. So who were the first 6 Mughals? Yeah, Babur, Humayun, Akbar, Jahangir, Shah Jahan, Aurangzeb. So they were the first 6 Mughal emperors. Yeah, so Aurangzeb was the last of the great Mughals. Akbar consolidated the Mughal empire through conquest and through a policy of conciliation with the religious based kingdoms of South India. Yeah, so Akbar consolidated the Mughal empire through conquest and through a policy of conciliation. So conciliation means to make somebody less angry or more friendly, especially by being kind and pleasant or by giving them something. Yeah, so he had a friendly relationship with the kingdoms of Rajasthan. Yeah, so that's why he made the Mughal empire a strong kingdom in India. Yeah, the Mughal empire began to disintegrate after Aurangzeb. They continued to exist nominally till 1857 AD. So the Mughal Empire, though, began to disintegrate after Aurangzeb. They continued to exist nominally till 1857 AD, when the British finally ended the virtually non-existent empire. So the Mughal Empire was founded by Babur in 1526 AD after he defeated Ibrahim Lodi at Panipat. The first 6 Mughal emperors are referred to as the Great Mughals. Aurangzeb was the last of the Great Mughal. Akbar consolidated the Mughal Empire through conquest and through a policy of conciliation with the religious-based kingdoms of Rajasthan. So the Mughal Empire, though, began to disintegrate after Aurangzeb, it continued to exist nominally, to continue to exist in name till 1857 AD. When the British finally ended the virtually non-existent empire. Actually, Aurangzeb was the last great Mughal emperor. So after him, there is no important Mughal ruler. So but they ruled the region of Delhi. So they ruled a part of India till 1857. A new power center arose in Maharashtra in 17th century. Yes, a new power center rose in Maharashtra in the 17th century under the Marathas under the leadership of Shivaji. Yes, a new power center rose in Maharashtra in 17th century under the Marathas. So under the leadership of Shivaji, seriously undermined the authority of the Mughals in Western India. So the rise of Shivaji, so the rise of Marathas under Shivaji, seriously pose a threat to the authority of Mughals in Western India. At its height, the empire stretched over most of the Indian subcontinent. At its height, the Mughal empire stretched over most of the Indian subcontinent. Only the southwest region of Kerala and southern Tamil Nadu were not directly under the Mughal rule. So only the southwest region of Kerala and southern Tamil Nadu were not directly under the Mughal rule. The arrival of the Europeans. During the 15th century, the Europeans were preoccupied with trying to find a direct sea route to India, bypassing the land route through West Asia and the Mediterranean. So during the 15th century, the Europeans, so they were trying to find a direct sea route to India, bypassing the overland route through West Asia and the Mediterranean region. The spice trade from India was controlled by Muslims up to Alexandria. So the spice trade from India was controlled by Muslims up to Alexandria. So by gaining direct access to India, the Europeans could exercise more direct control over the spice trade and obtain the spices at more favorable prices. During the 15th century, the Europeans, so they were trying to find a direct sea route to India. So the spice trade from India was controlled by the Muslims up to Alexandria. So by gaining direct access to the India, the Europeans could exercise more direct control over the spice trade and obtain the spices at more favorable prices. So that's why they wanted to find a direct sea route to India. So in 1498 AD, Vasco da Gama landed on the Kerala coast, having sailed around the Cape of Good Hope in South Africa. In 1498, Vasco da Gama, so from Portugal, so he landed on Kerala coast, so crossing Cape of Good Hope in South Africa. So barely 5 years later, the Portuguese built their first fort at Cochin in 1503 AD. So after 5 years, the Portuguese built their first fort at Cochin in 1503 AD. Goa was captured in 1510 AD. And became the center of the Portuguese state in India. So Goa was captured by the Portuguese in 1510 AD and it became the center of the Portuguese state in India. So because of their naval superiority, the Portuguese were able to conquer many ports from East Africa up to Malacca, could effectively control the maritime trade over the entire region. So because of their naval superiority, so because of their power in navy, the Portuguese were able to conquer many ports from East Africa up to Malacca. So Malacca means it is the Southeast Asia. So from Africa to Southeast Asia, they captured many ports. And it helped to control the maritime trade over the entire region. The other Europeans, so after the Portuguese, so other Europeans followed them. So most notably the Dutch, English and the French. So other Europeans soon followed the Portuguese, most notably the Dutch, English and the French. The activities of the latter were carried on through the respective East India companies. The activities of the latter, that is Dutch, English and French. So they had their respective East India Company, that is French East India Company, English East India Company and Dutch East India Company. So through their companies, they expanded their trade. While these were all private trading enterprises, they had a strong political agenda. So while these were, so the East India Companies were private companies, but they had a strong political agenda. So during the 17th century, when Mughal authority was still powerful, the European companies were able to trade in the Mughal Empire but could not have their own territorial base within the boundaries of the empire. So till 17th century, so because of the Mughal Empire, so Mughal Empire was powerful till 17th century, so that the European companies were able to have trade contact only. So they could not have their own territorial base within the boundary of the empire. In South India, however, political authority was fragmented. So political authority was not strong, so was divided and much less cohesive. And they were less cohesive. So cohesive means not united. So in South India, so the political authority was fragmented and much less cohesive, and they had their own enclaves, and the Europeans had their own enclaves over which they exercised their complete authority. So in South India, So the political authority was not strong as when compared to North India. So because North India was ruled by the Mughals, but in South India, so there was no powerful authority. Yeah. So the Europeans, so they had their own enclaves in South India, which they exercised their complete authority. Yeah. So the Dutch were in Pulicat and later Nagapattinam, and the English in Madras, and the French in Pondicherry, and the Danes in Tarangambadi, that is Tranquebar. Yeah. So the Dutch were have their settlements, have their enclaves in Pulicat and later in Nagapattinam, and the English in Madras, and the French in Pondicherry, and the Danes in Tarangambadi. Okay, students. So today's class we discussed about the state and society in medieval India. So from the Cholas to the Mughals. So the important political changes. So which took place between 1000 to 1700 AD. So during this period only, so the Islam rule, so the Muslim rule was established in North India. Then in South India, it was ruled by the Chola dynasty. Then later came the Bahmani kingdom and also the Vijayanagar empire. So then finally we discussed about the Mughals. So the great Mughals. So end of the medieval period was seen by the rise of Mughal dynasty. Then the arrival of the Europeans. So during the period of Mughals, so the Europeans, so they visited India. So they wanted to find a new sea route, so find a direct sea route to India, so that they had this spice trade contact directly. So for first it was the Portuguese, so who came to India, following the French, English, and the Dutch. So they also came to India in search of spice. Okay, so this thing only we have discussed in this lesson. Yes, in this class. So tomorrow's class we will discuss about the impact on polity. So the impact on polity and the society. Okay, so if you have any doubt in this class, so please contact me. Okay, so take your book. Take page number 90. Textbook reading. So 7.1b, the Chola Empire in the South. So read it as textbook reading. Then homework. So take page number 100. Sixth round matter. Answer the following in detail. Discuss the political changes during the 1526 to 707 AD. Take page number 91. So see the heading, the Mughals. So the two paragraph. So that is the answer for first detail. So the major political changes during the 1526 to 707 AD. So the Mughals. So the Mughal Empire was founded by Babur in 1526 AD. So starting from that and ended up to the second paragraph, last point. Only the southwest region of Kerala and southern Tamil Nadu were not directly under the Mughal rule. So this is the answer for first detail. So write it in your homework note. So and read it well. So thank you, students. Have a nice day.